Dana, I know you mentioned this after the game the other day, but just to clarify, any further updates on Clayton, how things came out after the game, and any tests that he did?
He's good. He's good. It's the same thing he had a couple weeks ago. It's sore, but he's tough. Along the same lines, I mean, Clayton is a competitor. One of the most talented guys I've coached. One of the most talented guys that plays the position. He's like top 10 in everything. How's he not on the Davey O'Brien watch list? The top 22 quarterbacks in the country. I mean, that's absurd that he's not on that. You know, in my opinion, invalidates the award. If that makes people in Fort Worth mad, I don't care. But I mean, who are the people that are picking this? How is he not one of the top 22 quarterbacks in the country? He's first in passing touchdowns. He's 8th in yards. He's 12th in efficiency and 10th in completion percentage or whatever. I don't get it. I mean, what, Clayton Tune, he's a 3-year captain. He's a college graduate. He's going to an all-star game after the season. He's a great young man, represents the university and his family with tremendous admiration. It's just absurd. I got to get this off my chest. I didn't even really realize this. I don't pay attention to awards, but like the Blitnikoff came out today, and I know Tank's on that, deservingly so. He's second and everything. And then we just got talking in there, and it was made aware that he's not on that list. And I'm like, well, whoever's making a list needs to stop making lists because it doesn't make sense.
Well, at that point, somebody's got to throw the ball to Tank, and Tank's on that list.
Yeah, obviously proud of Tank, and he's so much fun to coach. He was at 180 yards last week and was mad that he couldn't go in the game on that last drive to get over 200 for some reason. He thought that was a milestone. I don't know if he's ever had 200. He hasn't. Okay, well, I understand that. But at that point in the game, we were going to sit everybody down and get out of it. We've only been able to do that one other time this year, so it was nice to be able to get an entire second team in there to finish the game. But Tank's Tank. Everybody says that every week, Tank's Tank. And I look back, and he wasn't the player of the week at all this year, so that's why we gave him the award. He's obviously deserving of it and could have been that guy probably 5 or 6 other times if we so wanted. But he's obviously getting some recognition as well, and proud of him, and he's a lot of fun. They're both a lot of fun to coach.
Dana, you've talked about Jalen Emery a lot. I was just wondering what you've learned from just, him being in there, playing a more significant role over this latter half of the season, especially Saturday, just with what you all were able to do in the secondary-wise?
Well, I haven't talked about him a lot because he hasn't been playing very much and hasn't been playing at that level. He's a competitor. He's getting better. His improvement, you can see and witness it. He's twitchy. He's fast. He's quick. He's competitive. He's gotten some PIs because he's aggressive. And when I was taking so much criticism for the amount of penalties that we were getting, which a lot of them was stuff that we needed to clean up, and we have. We had 7 penalties, and they were all but one were aggression-type penalties. And I'm not going to apologize for that because I want our guys to be aggressive, and he's aggressive. So the first PI he got, he triggered, and he was just a split second too quick. And he'll be able to continue to work on timing and time stuff up, which he made a couple of those plays, in the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, where he triggered on things and got there and batted the ball down and made a good play. I don't think this is. I don't think this is by chance, but ECU had 0 penalties. You want 0 penalties and lose by 39, or you want aggressive type penalties and win by 39? I think we all know the answer to that.
Dana, it's senior week, and it looks like on here you've got 17 seniors. I know we've talked about the process and not knowing. I'm assuming these are 17 that you know of for sure that this is it for them. you kind of just, I know there's a lot of them, but just maybe the group as a whole, what they meant to you since they were the guys when you got here?
Yeah, I haven't studied it throughout the course of this week. I will. We brought it up last week, or I'm sorry, yesterday in our team meeting. About this week. This is like the funnest week of the year for me. To be able to be playing this week is awesome. A game that means something is awesome. Thanksgiving is one of my favorites. It just goes and it goes hand in hand with football. Family, friendships, and obviously food, that sort of thing. To couple that with senior night is pretty awesome. So Saturday night, last time that these guys are playing here, hopefully people will come watch. A lot of good players that have done a lot of things, and some been here 5 years, some been here 4 years, some been here 3 years. I don't think there's any on this list that's only been here 2 years just because of COVID and all that, but it's a good group. It's a group that means a lot to me, and we went through COVID together. We went through a losing season together. We went through a championship run, and then all the ups and downs of what's happened this year, and whether it's close losses, close wins, just the amount of injuries that's happened, the amount of criticism that we've all endured, hung in there and became a very resilient group. That's why last week's win was as much fun as I've seen a team have in the 4 years that I've been here. It's like all the pressure was released, But those guys are a big reason why, because their character is good, their give a crap level is high. There ain't many teams that could have just hung in there and done what these guys have done. To the point to where we go on that road. That road venue was pretty spectacular. I mean, you're talking about 45,000 people and a passionate fan base against a pretty good team, and we go in there and just dominate everything. I don't think there's many teams in the country that could go through what we went through and be able to do what we did on Saturday. And I'm just saying that because I think that's a lot of that has to do with those 17 guys.
What's your schedule around Thanksgiving? What do you give your team off? What do y'all celebrate together?
Yeah, it's business as usual, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so there's school on Monday, Tuesday. There's not school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that allows us to do some things different. We have Wednesday morning we will practice, Thursday morning we'll practice, as opposed to practicing in the afternoons because of school. So we'll be able to move that up and use that morning block on Wednesday morning, Thursday morning. Wednesday afternoon we'll have a team Thanksgiving dinner in our facility. Families can come up. Just a big, huge dinner on Wednesday afternoon. And Thursday, when we're done at around 12 or so, everybody can go where they want. They got about 24 hours off. We have so many kids that are local that they can go spend Thanksgiving with their families. If kids aren't local, then we make sure that they have somewhere to go. And if they don't have somewhere to go, they can go to coaches' houses and stuff like that. But it's, we used to have, like, all the position players go to the position coach's house on Thursdays, but just with so many families that are from here that have strong ties here, that's just not necessary in Houston. And then Friday's normal, and obviously Saturday's normal as well.
And there was no practice yesterday? You gave them
There was not, yeah. I cut that off. Like I mentioned last week, I mean, usually around game 8 or 9, I cut Sundays. We came in, we met, we lifted, we ran, we did all the stuff we need to. We just didn't go outside.
Dan, are you much of a scenario guy in terms of, looking at?
Don't waste your time. I'm not. And I told the team this yesterday, and there's chatter. And that's good. I mean, it's good to be in the conversation, but I said, like, we ain't paying attention to anything but game week in Tulsa. That's it. This game matters. I mean, if we can get to 8-4 and 6-2 and tied for second in the conference, which is just facts, that's something to be proud of. Then it goes to tiebreaker situations and all that. I ain't getting into the scenarios on what needs to happen because none of it matters unless we win on Saturday. I'm available to work Sunday if I need to. I know there'll be bowl talk after that. I'm not worried about any of that stuff until next week. We can't go recruit Sunday because, I mentioned this last week too. Next week is dead from a recruiting perspective. So I'm here all week. If we're coaching, we're coaching. If we're not coaching, then we're planning on what's next.
Dana, y'all have faced some good receivers this year. You got another one in Stokes, another one of the finalists on. Just can you talk about him and just sort of some of those challenges they present, especially?
Yeah, their skill is good now. We've same group that we went against last year. It's we know their skill is good. Stokes is a good player. He's on that Blitnikoff watch list. Much like the Rice kid at SMU is as well. He's from here in Houston. That's the one thing that their skill. Looking at 4 or 5 seniors on that Tulsa offense that are all from around this area, and they're playing their last game. So you think they're going to be ready to play? Yeah, they're going to be ready to play. They got good guys coming back on offense, obviously led by Stokes, the Prince kid from right here in Houston as well, the running back that went to A&M. He's somebody we got to pay attention to. Those are the 2 guys that they try to get the ball to. What's their quarterback situation? I don't know. Brent's took a lot of shots this year. Been hit a good bit. I know he's been dealing with some injuries, and Braxton, who we're very familiar with, has came in and done a nice job too. So offensively, they got players that can make plays, and we will be well aware of where they're at.
Dana, as you get towards the end here, I just wanted to kind of ask you about I know it hasn't been a lot of meaningful snaps, but you've had Lucas in there a few times. Moving forward with a guy like that, is it good to just, if you need him, put him in there just to get a little action? I know it hasn't been like, it's been for replacement, like a play here and there type deal.
Yeah, I'd prefer to keep Toon in there. Let's enjoy him while we got him here for the rest of the year. And, he's I've already said what I think about that. I'm not going to put anybody else in there if I don't have to. But, Lucas is young, and we don't know what he's going to be yet. So the more snaps we can give him, the better. He's a hard worker. What's it going to look like when it's like live bullets? I don't know. Like he was upset with me last week because, I was just obviously trying to get the game over. I didn't want to do anything dumb. We're up 42-3, our defense. If I would have done something dumb and they would have scored a touchdown, that'd be tough to look at our defense. And not saying that Lucas would have done that. He hadn't had a whole lot of snaps, so we need to continue to practice him. I think I don't know what it's going to look like until we actually get him in an off season. We didn't have him last spring. He's young, so he needs to go through an off season. He needs to go through a spring to figure out, and then he needs live snaps to see where he's at.
Where I was going, in your radio show a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that in terms of practice, he had moved up, and that was something that maybe you didn't think at the beginning that you would have seen with Ike and Holman being experienced and stuff. Has that sort of been the trajectory for him this year, that you've seen a little bit in practice that maybe you didn't expect?
Yeah, I didn't think he wasn't ready early, but after the bye week is where he really kind of elevated his game up a little bit. Just you can see the competitiveness with which he plays with, and how he studies and attacks the game. Extremely pleased with how he does that and did that. So we just said, man, let's rep him more. And the more we repped him, the better he's getting.
Is there an update just on how Alton's doing?
He's good. He looks really good. He's out of the injury protocol world. I see him out there running a lot. He'll come do some drills and stuff with us for a little while. He's, as you can imagine, the way he's attacked this thing is pretty awesome. He's way ahead of schedule. It'd be foolish to obviously try to play him, but I don't even know if the doctors would clear him for that right now, but they might. because he's looking really good. Looking forward to seeing what he looks like in the spring.
Is, along those lines with Stacy, still, I mean, you're running out of here, but I mean, is he somebody that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll get him back. I think we'll get Sam Brown back. You know, I think we'll get Corgan back. We should get Antonio Brooks back. You know, those are all guys that made the trip last week, but just wasn't ready to go. I'm glad we got through that one without him. We're going to need all those guys. You know, so there's hope to get those guys back. You know, maybe another body or two. See what it looks like tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we don't even really like pay attention to it anymore. I mean, when like whoever's out there practicing, we practice with. If they're not there, nobody like bats an eye. It's why this group's so resilient. When I'm proud of how they attack everything, because regardless of who's available, we just go play. You know, which is why I'm proud of this team for being as resilient as they are. All right, thank you all.